Well, I'm Seward. I'm from Austin, Texas, and it is hotter than Texas here. I was at Curves the other day, and this is a part of my boasting thing that I read and I were talking about that God's humbled me about years ago. But here I am at Curves, and oh man, I'm going to Sacramento, and it's in the 70s. This is like, Jennifer told me it was like in the high 70s, 80s, something like that, and I was just going, oh, and they're saying, oh, it's going to be 104 this weekend. I'm like, well, I'm going to Sacramento. It's going to be, like high 70s, something like that. So I get here, and it's like hotter than a freaking firecracker. So I'm like, okay, I am not coming back here in the summer. Okay, but anyway, Danny asked me on Wednesday to put this together, so it's I kind of just threw it together, and I've never done a PowerPoint ever in my entire life. I've gone up to the front and spoken, and I've spoken on stage and stuff like that, but usually, I just kind of speak and tell my story. So I thought, you know what? Maybe I'll do a PowerPoint. And I am not technical, even though I've been on the internet for like 16 years, I am not technical. So, I mean, it's God. He's doing this. So I kind of threw this together. So it's not real fancy like Jesus is, with all the little squigglies and everything. But remember how Jesus said you got to kind of get out of your comfort zone and just do something you've never done. So I thought, okay, well, I'll throw this PowerPoint together. So this is kind of what I came up with. And I found this little picture here about dreams, vision, goals, action, success, which a lot of us are talking about today. So I see it's kind of all flowing together. So I thought, well, that's kind of our uncorked success funnel. It's kind of the way I looked at it. So let me just kind of tell you a little bit about my background here. I started in network marketing, back in 1988, way back in 88. My son was like 2 years old. He's 26 now. And that's when I first got into network marketing, and I never even heard of Amway back then. I mean, I didn't even know anything about network marketing. But flash forward, I kind of failed my way through and kind of did a lot of stupid things and boasting and saying I was going to be rich, and I turned off all my family and kind of just, kind of blew it. But I didn't give up, and we moved back to Texas in '96, and that's when I got on the internet and got my computer. And I met some people that started teaching me about marketing on the internet. My kids were really young then. I'm going to show a picture here in a minute. They were like 4 and 9. And I said, I don't really want to be doing a lot of meetings. I want to be home with my kids. So I got on the internet and I started building relationships with people that I met on the internet. It was really, really very different back then. We had email and phone, and we had a couple of forum groups. Right now we have Facebook and on social media. And we were doing social media before social media was even a word. So anyway, kind of fast forward, I got in some companies, I made some money, I worked my way up. And I've made the money in network marketing. I've built a career. All the stuff that Jesus was talking about, the self-development, it's so true because I was a stay-at-home mom. I had no income of my own when I started. My husband's been supportive of me in all of my ventures for all these years. We've been married for like 33 years. And I had no speaking ability. I had no writing experience. I had no college degrees. Vincent's right. I mean, you don't need that. You don't have to be somebody that wants to get up here and present if you don't want to. And so I managed to build a career in network marketing, and I did it because of everything that we've been talking about today. Because I had a dream. I've always had dreams. I've had goals of helping my family, and I'll show you that in just a second here. Oops, there we go. Has anybody ever felt like this in their business? Who in here has owned a business before, like a traditional business? Or been self-employed? Well, network marketing is the same thing, but sometimes we feel, we get to feeling like this because people won't really listen to us, and they think, you're in one of those things, or you're in one of those pyramids, or it's a scam, or you give them the product and they say that it doesn't taste good, and it really does taste good, and it really has effect, but they're just kind of telling, like Vincent said, they're lying. So sometimes you just feel like you're just going to go crazy because people are telling you no, right? Well, that's how I felt for years, and it's just something that you have to get over. You just have to get over it. Let me see if I can get the next. Push button once. Whoop.
Pointed at
Oh,
the
sorry.
computer.
Oh, here's my wine. Okay, these are my wine, and I don't know if you can see that picture. Up on the left is me and my 2 sons when I started this business. my son James was about 4 years old, and my son Luke was 9 years old. And you can see I was quite a bit heavier there. I think I don't know what I weighed there, but I've also had goals with my weight through all the years, so you can kind of see me. I kind of look like Santa Claus there, don't I? So, and these are my boys last Christmas. My son Luke is in the Air Force, and my other son James is 20. He's in college, and there's Jesus up there on my fireplace. See him? So they have always been my why, and I had wanted to stay home with them ever since my son Luke was 4 years old. I stopped working. I have not been back to work since, and that was 22 years ago. I've not been back out to work in the workforce. I was so determined to build my career in network marketing, and I'm still there, still going, because of my dream. And someone told me one time that you have to have a dream that's bigger than yourself. I mean, it's got to be a big dream that you have to grow into to achieve the dream. And you've got to, like Jesus was saying with the self-development, that's where that comes in. Your dream has to be so big that you have to grow into the dream to achieve the dream. And I found this quote here: to dream big is a matter of choice. Remember, he talked about choices? To reach that dream is a matter of discipline, which we talked about. Work, network marketing. Oops. Whoop. Sorry. Going back. There's my son Luke. My son Luke is an airman 2nd class in the Air Force, and he was a huge miracle. I mean, we thought my son was never going to do anything with his life. He barely made it out of high school. He's just incredibly intelligent. He's self-taught on the computer. He couldn't get a job for like 5 years. He got out of high school. We were taking care of him. I mean, I even thought that he might be autistic. Okay, and was really concerned. What are we going to do about my son? And finally, and since 8th grade, he's had this dream of going in the military. And of course, I was kind of scared because he wanted to go in the Army, and he was talking about the combat stuff. And then he went and started researching the Air Force, and it took him 2 years. I mean, he got in there, did it all himself, didn't say anything to us about it because he was so determined to do this. Went to the Air Force office. After he barely made it out of high school, they said he was clueless in high school. And he aced the test. He made like 77 on the Air Force, the test again. It's pretty hard to get into the Air Force. And then he had a dream that he said, Mom, I want to get I want to get a job in intelligence. And nobody in high school ever would have thought that my son would do something like that. Sure enough, he got the job in intelligence. So then he got into boot camp. He had a heart condition, a heart problem that came up during boot camp, and he still wasn't going to give up. They took him by ambulance. His heart almost stopped. They stopped his heart. His heart went up to 240. They stopped his heart. They didn't tell me because they can't call Mommy when you're in the Air Force. So on Easter Sunday, last Easter Sunday, they called me and said, and he called me and said, I'm in the hospital. He starts telling me all the stuff that happened to him, and I thought I was going to die. And then they said, we're going to send you home. We're not going to. This is like 2 weeks in boot camp. His whole dream was just like shattered, and he would not give up. He just kept going to him and saying, no, I want to stay in. He started taking college credits during his med hold. He was on med hold, and he got like 18 college credits. He just kept going to him and telling him, I'm not going to give up. I want to stay in. So then they decided like a week later they're going to fix it. They had to do an electrical shock thing that was hard. And fixed his heart, stayed in, got through his training, and now he's in Baltimore, Maryland. So I'm just so proud of him. That's why I had to show. I'm just so proud of him. Another thing about that I have is I have visions. I have visions about my garden. A lot of people here know me on Facebook that I garden. I love my organic gardening, but I had a vision for my garden. I'd go online and I'd look at pictures of gardens. Sure enough, my husband, my wonderful husband, built me raised beds. You have to have raised beds in Texas because we have rock. Everything's, you have to put your raised beds in. So we did our gardening. And so that's a real passion of mine. And it's really cool because Uncork pays us that passion bonus. That's awesome. I've never had a company that's ever paid a passion bonus in all these years. So I'm very into missions, and that's kind of one of my passions is missions. My church, and cooking at my church. You guys know I love to cook, and I'm always cooking. Danny, y'all call me, and I'm always cooking. I got my headset on, I'm talking to people, and I'm in the kitchen cooking. So here we were cooking a dinner for somebody at church that had a baby. So we can do that in this business. I mean, missions. It's not always about the money. Is great. It's not about the money. It's about what you can do with the money. Think about that when some people think, well, I'm thinking about money. You're just trying to make a lot of money, get a bunch of stuff. But it's what we can do with the money, and we can do some really awesome things, especially with this company. So that's kind of something that I'm very into is missions. So my whole point that I wanted to bring this to is treating our network marketing business like a real business, okay? A lot of people don't do that. They get into network marketing and they say, well, I'll just give it a try. It's like a little hobby. They wonder why they don't make any money because they don't treat it like a real business. And it's just like any other business. If you treat it like a real business, it's going to pay you like one. And most entrepreneurial people are in business to make profit. So they stay in. And then a lot of businesses too, they take 2 to 3 years to make a profit. I mean, look at restaurant businesses. Some of these people put in hundreds of thousands of dollars into their business, and sometimes they're losing $10,000 to $15,000. If you watch some of those cooking shows, those restaurant shows where they go in and try to fix the restaurant, and they're losing sometimes $10,000 to $15,000 a day. We don't do that. We don't have to do that, but we can make a lot of money. We can make a lot of money in this business. And I love Zig Ziglar that he says money isn't everything, but it ranks right up there with oxygen. Isn't that true? Isn't he great? So let's talk about your goals and your plan for your business. And this is pretty simple stuff here. You get into network marketing, and you don't really realize, well, it really is a business. So you've got to have a business plan. And you'd be surprised how many people. Am I running out of time? I can see you looking at the wall.
Oh no.
I can see people. I hear people say all the time, well, I don't have time to set up. I don't have time to write out a business plan. I'm like, why are you in business to make money or what? Or you want to make a profit in your business? You've got to have a plan. So the first thing you need to do is set up your business plan. Even if it's not a formal thing, you can write up some kind of a business plan and goals that you set for yourself. And every single year, you look at that plan and you just, if you don't meet a certain goal, you readjust it. So you've got to have a business plan. There's a lot of tax advantages for home business owners, and I suggest that you guys check into that too with your accountant. Save all your receipts, and this is a business, so you've got tax advantages. Trust me. You need to obtain a separate phone line. That's one of the things that your CPA will. If you do have an accountant, they're going to tell you need a separate phone line. You need a professional outgoing message on your office phone. I've had people that I call, and I get them in the business, and I call them, and they got their kids on their message. Hi. I'm like, if I called a realtor or insurance salesperson, are they going to have that on their phone? Really, I'm not kidding you. There's people that they're in network marketing and they have that. So put a professional outgoing message on your office voicemail. And I also have a voicemail box with an 800 number that I use for my drop cards. I've done drop cards over the years. I've done everything except put the sign on the telephone poles. That's the only thing I've never done in all these years. I never did the sign on the telephone pole, but I've done the drop cards. And so I get an 800 box for that because I don't want people calling me in the middle of the night. It's a 24-hour. So I just had, that's an optional thing, but I always have that. Email address, professional email address. And I always use my name because I've been branding my name for 16 years. Sue Seward online. So I have my email, Sue Seward. I have SueSeward.com. So that just brands you. Don't have some stupid, silly email. It's kind of like Facebook that Danny's going to talk about. And you put your real picture on Facebook. Don't put some silly thing on there. You need to be professional because it's a business. And then a separate office area in your home. These are some things that when you do get with an accountant, they're going to tell you. I've always had it in 1996 when I started, and my husband said, you're going to start treating this like a real business. And I started going to company events, Because I said, oh, we can't afford it, we don't have the money. He said, yeah, if you're going to do this as a real business, then we're going to start going to company events, and you need a separate office. So I've had a separate office since 1996 when I started. Even if it's sometimes you may not be able to do that at first, but a little office, a little area in the kitchen. But just talk to your CPA about that. That's really important to have that. Business cards, professional-looking business cards. I would just don't print them out on your computer. They just don't look professional. Get them from the company. We've got some really nice business cards. Even Vistaprint has better business cards that are cheap than printing them out on your computer.
Yeah.
Here's some things that I've done over the years is stay plugged in. You've got to stay plugged in, because if you don't, all of a sudden it's been 2-3 days, you haven't talked to your sponsor, which my sponsor, Vincent St. Louis, is awesome. Thank you, Vincent. He really is an awesome sponsor. I'm going to give him a little plug. But you need to stay plugged in, because really you'll go 2 or 3 days, you haven't done anything for your business. Every single day I always tell people, do something for your business every day. Even if it's just one little thing. Even if you answered one email. Sometimes I've been deathly ill, and I've gone and looked at an email, something. Or read some self-development stuff, or listen to a CD. But stay plugged in. Marketing system, online and offline system. That means online means our company website that has that presentation on it. That's your marketing system. That's what you show people, the 15-minute presentation that David's done. Offline is the meetings, the presentations like Jesus was talking about, if you do an in-home business presentation. Make sure you always attend your company events. You guys have a lot of stuff going on here, so the company events are really, really important. Trainings, generic trainings are really good. I've attended generic trainings for years for continuing education. Just like realtors, they got to go do continuing education. My husband's a professional land surveyor. He's got to do continuing education. Nurses, these people have to do. So what's so different? This is our business, so we need to invest in our business, invest in ourselves. Personal development, Jesus covered that. Very, very, very important. I wouldn't be standing up here today if I had not developed myself. I could not even say my name on a call back in 1996. I'm not kidding, I was too shy to say my name. I was telling Rihanna that I was on calls for 3 years. Rihanna said, well, they always say the same thing. I said, yeah, they do. It's duplicatable. They say the same thing over and over and over and over and over for 3 years. I was on the same call every week, and one night the leader didn't show up. And there was about 25 of us on there, I don't know, something like 25, 50 people. Later I found out his basement flooded, and that's why he didn't show up. But he wasn't there, and they said, Sue, you do the call. And I was like, I never did a call in my life. I was like, oh my gosh. So all of a sudden I started, blah, 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 blah. Everything that came out was what I heard for the last 3 years. So after that I was like, hey man, I can do calls now. So then I started slowly doing calls, and then one time I was asked to speak in 2000 at a company, and I was out in Salt Lake City, and they asked me to speak like in front of 4,000 people with a group of 12 women they picked out. It was a women's conference at the main company conference. And I was like, holy cow, I never did that in my whole life. I had to go up on the stage. Dallin Larson was sitting right in the front row, by the way. That's all I saw was Dallin Larson. I saw all the front row, and the whole rest of the room was just dark. You couldn't see. There was this big screen up there, so I had like 12 minutes was it. But I had my notes. I was on a little podium. I was like, my husband was sitting over there just like, oh God, he was so scared. And I had my little notes typed in double space, and I was just looking down, looking up, looking down, looking up, doing my presentation, and then it was over. And then I saw people just up on their feet, and I was like, wow, I did it! 4,000 people. So that's personal growth, man.
Yeah.
That's what that is. So stay up on the scoop in your industry, in your field, just like you do in the insurance business, in the real estate business. You know, any professional is going to stay up on what's going on in the field and become a leader. If you really want to make the money, the big money, become a leader. You know, it doesn't mean you have to stand up here. If somebody has a total fear of they don't want to stand in front of the room, that's okay. But you can still be a leader. You can be a leader for your team. Plug into your company conference and training calls. Like I said, even if it's the same thing unless you've got somebody to meet, you're meeting with somebody, that's different. If you're meeting with somebody to show the plan, you're showing the plan, right? Show the plan. Then you don't have to be, don't come on a call then, because you got that's more important than you're going to be signing somebody up. But come on your company calls and show you have a team, you need to show them you're on the company calls. Say your name on there. Training calls, listen to the recordings if you can't get on the call. Be coachable, that's really important. Stay surrounded by successful, like-minded people, like all of us in this room. We're all like-minded people. We all want to go somewhere. We all have dreams. We all have our why. Keep planting your seeds. That means like, who was something like that? Talking to the two people. That's planting seeds. Yeah, planting seeds. And even if somebody says no, it's okay. It's not like, don't be crushed by it. The more you develop yourself, the more that stuff starts sliding off your back. It's okay, you just keep moving forward. It's just not time right now for them. It may not be the right timing in their life. But keep planting your seeds. Always ask for help, and don't ever stop asking for help if you need some help. Go find somebody. Vincent, me, or Danny, Mike, David. Always ask for help. Never, ever, ever give up. That's huge, right? You never want to give up. Some of the other things I thought about was the credibility of our industry. Robert Kiyosaki, a lot of people, who knows Robert Kiyosaki? Read some of his books, his CDs.
I just got one.
Yeah, he is excellent. He raves about our industry, about how the credibility of our industry. If somebody doesn't believe it, you just give them one of his CDs or his book. He has a book that I'm going to show you here in a second here. I think it's the Business School for People Who Like Helping People. That was one of the first books I used to give my team because this business it's a people business. It's a business where we're helping other people, and that's what he talks about too. He talks a lot about self-development. This is a self-development business, and that it's the only business that the average person can get into for, like $300, not $10,000, not $50,000 for a food truck. My son and I were talking about a food truck. $40,000 we would have to just get it for a food truck. So, and we had $300 to start this business. Plus, of course, we got to get our business cards and things like that, but it's nothing like $10, $20, $40, $50, $100,000. So start thinking like an entrepreneur and treating your business like a real business. And as people tell you, that's not a real business, or that's one of those things. And then you need to give them, educate them if they'll take the information from you. If they're willing to listen to it. Pass along some information like that from Kiyosaki. Here's another. I think Vincent posted this on Facebook.
Yeah.
Who else is going to pay you for sharing your products? If you go to Walmart or Target or wherever Costco or wherever, they don't pay you for sharing their products. So I was telling my husband the other day that look at all the numbers here of the global sales, and look at network marketing. $167 billion. This is not a joke. That's up with a B. That's $1 billion. And we're sharing. We get to share in the profits, especially with Uncorked, because we have our shares that we can earn now. So that's even more awesome. So next time somebody asks you or they don't believe it, just show them some of this stuff so that say hey. And if they still don't believe it, if they're negative and they're whiny and they're complaining, you don't want them in your business anyway. Just kind of that's it. Bye bye. We used to say that, bye-bye, and then move on. We used to say that, remember that AOL? No, goodbye. AOL, goodbye. That's what I say, that's what my husband and I do when somebody says no. Goodbye. So anyway, one more thing I want to show y'all is my shirt that I found. I was telling the guys that $9.99 at Target. So, $900. I walked into Target to buy that stick for my computer thing, and I went over to the T-shirts, and this T-shirt was like over there by itself. See what it says? Dream more, complain less. $9.99, Because that's always been my big thing. What's it say here? If you can dream it, you can do it. Isn't that awesome? Consider me done with it.
Sue Seward, give her a big hand. Thanks for good stuff. You guys excited? We're almost done. And what we're going to do is bring up another guest. You all know him, his name's Charlie.